don't we get the old gang back together? Overkill, tinfoil cabin, Superior, and Dodge.
Tears alive. He's coming after you.
Let's go make some mayhem.
Take cover.
What's up, Mort? You make me laugh. Turn touch off. Well, what makes you say that? You see Dish Jam a lot? I mean, we're still trying to get more exposure. Definitely happy with the exposure and reviews we're getting right now, but trying to get as much as possible. It's been tricky because the game already came out on PlayStation, so a lot of the outlets are kind of not as, like, when you release a port, they're not as excited to cover it. But we did definitely get some good coverage, which we're excited about. That's awesome, Moore. That's really great. I wish we had our localizations done because I think it's hurting us. We're actually the game's doing better. Not better. I guess it's still doing best in North America, but it's doing pretty well in Europe, and we haven't had time to localize it yet. So I'm wondering how much that's hurting us that we don't have it in local languages. I just said all that with my mic up because I was eating. Yeah, we're trying to see if we can't. Appreciate that. Yeah, it's one of those things where it's like it's such an important thing, I think, localization, but it's so time consuming because the way it kind of works is we have to do a lot of technical work first to like make sure every menu in the game can scale appropriately. Like the German language tends to be so much wider in terms of like letter count. So yeah, it's just one of those things where like, it kind of happens a lot where we don't get to export this so we can take a look at it. We don't get to do like even the translation bit until it's like well after we've done a good amount of work on technical stuff, and so it's like one of those things where it's we're constantly weighing like, okay, should we like start in on the localization yet? Should we start? And it keeps getting pushed back and pushed back and pushed back. I think eventually we'll get there, but it's just something that like I said, we just been so never quite makes it to the top of the priority list. So the last few weeks I've been working on a character, but I'm gonna get back to doing some in-game content. I want to see if I can flesh out a few discs today, because I got some designs I want to knock out. I think it should move pretty fast. This one's obviously a take on that old 80s sort of arcade handheld game. I want to work on simple disc shape, and I want to have the thing in game actually doing the sequences and the sounds. I think that'll be pretty cool. So I'll knock that out first, and then I can probably get to some of these other ones because I don't think that should take me all that long. It's just a pretty simple cylinder. But I got some other designs I think that are pretty workable that I could knock out pretty quick. So yeah, I just want to make some content for the game. Ahmed, welcome. Hi to you. Yeah, red wax. Let me change red wax to avert people's eyes from the pain of it. Vinit, my screen resolution. This is 22. It's 1440p. I think it's like 2560 by 1440, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah, it's a 27-inch Cintiq. Yeah, 2560 1440. It's actually a little too big for me, if I'm being completely honest. I upgraded from the 22 about maybe a year ago, maybe now, maybe less. But it's something that like I love it because there's so much real estate, but it's a blessing and a curse because I can't turn it, I can't maneuver it. Like with the 22, I could just swing it around and like do a straight line, swing it back around. With this, you have to have an app that lets you rotate the canvas. Obviously ZBrush doesn't really do that, but you can rotate the model. And Photoshop, you can rotate the page, and Sketchbook, you can rotate the page. But it's just a little bit, something about the manual process of flipping around was better for me. I kind of prefer that. The added resolution's great. I think I'm gonna probably spring for one of the new Cintiq Pros just because the new ones that are coming out, the 24-inch can do 4K, and it just looks beast. So no, this is not a 4K. But yeah, the next ones are, and the Cintiq Pros are pretty rad. Alright, let's get going here. Concept up. Do a little Googling from here. I want to give it a little bit of a textile feel. Yeah, it honestly, I agree, Ward. Like, it's just too much. Like, you know, it's just a little too much. I don't know. I mean, like, it's, I wish that weren't the case, but I found that, it's just a bit of a pain. Alright, so, let me duplicate this off. And when I first got it, I was like, dude, this is the best thing in the world. I got all this real estate on the screen, which I do. Like, I gotta figure out, like, the amount of real estate is something. Like, I need now that they have got this much real estate, I can't go back, because even when I'm doing 3D work and like Maya and stuff like that, it's one of those things where, like, even doing stuff in Maya, I didn't usually use my Cintiq. I used my main two monitors because the Cintiq was kind of too cramped. But now it's like I can use Maya right here, Visual Studio over there. Like, it's having the extra 1440 monitor has been such a workflow game changer that it's gonna be real hard to go back. So 32 is the resolution. I want to match the resolution of the one below it because I want to match the roundness because I kind of found that that's a good amount of resolution for discs. Just might be too much. On screen, they're about this big. I guess you want to see those jaggies. Can you guys not hear me? Mike's okay? Turn the music down. Is that a little bit better? I'm on this YouTube playlist, so some of it's kind of loud. Alright, let's take it to about there. Set the y-axis. It's your X and Y symmetry. Yeah, I found this. I was listening to another streamer, and she played this video games playlist, and I've been using it ever since. I'm pretty hooked on it. It's probably a little too big of a gap. Yeah, Cooper, man, it's been game changing, and I found that, and a big thing that Pixelogic has us do, they want us to they don't want us to do anything that's gonna mute the sound because they export these obviously, and yeah, so it's just I found that these don't get muted, to my surprise and delight. Why do I keep hitting this radial menu? It's not on any of my hotkeys. How important is beveling for an in-game asset? That's a good question. There's a few different things to consider in terms of beveling that I think I wish I would have known more about in the beginning. I'll say. One is, like, these are pretty small assets in game, the thing I'm working on right now. I don't really need to bevel it because, like, it's probably like that big on screen, and obviously the bevels would be all invisible. But there's a couple things to consider. For one, like, if this is a hard 90 degrees right there, like, see how this is a hard 90 degrees right there? When you're doing normal map baking, the normal map baker can't find 90 degree edges. So 90 degree edges usually mean you want to split your UV islands. So a lot of times when I'm doing bevels, it's for the purposes of, oh, I'll probably have this be one island. So I'll have a UV split right there on that edge. And then instead of splitting again right here, I'll just bevel it and let that be a 45 degree flap, and the normal map baker should be able to find that decently. Another thing to consider is that like, you don't want to ever see sharp edges. Like I said, this will be such a small prop on screen, I'm not going to see them in game. But if ever you see, like, a really jaggy edge, unless you're doing mobile where it's more forgivable, you're probably going to want to do some kind of smoothing there. Now finally, the last thing to consider is that when you're in the blockout stage versus the sort of final polish stage and, like, UVing and texturing and all that, when you're in the blockout stage, if you bevel too early, it's really hard to make changes. So, like, Modo has an unbevel command, which is really helpful. Maya doesn't have that, and that's my primary sort of 3D app is Maya outside of ZBrush. And so what that usually means is, like, oh, I'm doing something, I'm working along on a prop, and this happens more in environment pieces than it does, like, a handheld prop like this. But with environment pieces, with environment pieces, like I'll realize, oh, you know what, this scale has to be a little bit bigger or smaller, or this, like I'll just want to tweak the thing a little bit, or maybe make this whole face has to come out a little bit more. But if that face is on a beveled edge, then all of a sudden the bevel itself is now out of whack and not facing the right way, and it's super frustrating, and you have to really kind of like readjust your faces and then bevel it again if you want to make those tweaks. So I tend to save beveling to the last possible step. For this disc particular though, I can bevel as I'm doing it because I have a really clear idea where I'm going with it. I don't really, I'm not too concerned about beveling too early. So I know I want this to be rounded. I know I want these to be sort of beveled right there on the inside. So yeah, and like, yeah, more nails it. Like, yeah, it's just so hard to know. Like, it's just really tricky to know when to bevel. And even when I have a pretty clear idea in my head, I find myself like, oh, I beveled too early. Now I'm kind of up against it, trying to fix that. So it's something to think about. So I think I want to polygroup. Let's do key mesh again by polygroup. Hold on one second. Sorry, my dog was fussing. Is it Tahiti? No. Bob. I'm working on a disc for our game Disc Jam. It's a disc throwing game, so all of the in-game assets are discs, and this is one of those discs. So it'll be a little bit clearer here in a moment too when it starts taking shape. Alex Boatman, I've actually been meaning to look into that. I saw a discussion about this on a Moto forum, and someone said there's a script you can do on Bevel and Maya, and I did a little bit of searching on Creative Crash. Couldn't find anything useful. If you have the link, I'd love for you to share it, because I'd love to just add that to the Maya scripts. More, I wouldn't be. I don't know if everybody. I feel like it goes both ways, honestly. It's just not sending it to Maya. Go. It's definitely not. Is my Gozy not set up anymore? That's the dream, Julies. I wish I could get good with both. I can't even navigate Max. I try to use it, and like I have licenses for both because we do like the Autodesk Entertainment package, so it has any Autodesk software basically. Mm. But yeah, I can't even navigate in Max. Dude, this is just fully not going to Maya. What's happening here? Try to send this over to Maya as is so I can do a little bit of vertex noodling real quick. Gozy used to just send it over and open it if it didn't. What's happening here? Gozy is broken, so let's do a little bit of a demo on how to fix that. $2014, huh? Oh yeah, 2014 install. Alright, there. Close this down. No, there it is. Huh. It's always been quite finicky. Blender, I've never used. My partner is all about Blender because he likes the idea of being able to be on like any machine anywhere in the world and just like fire up a clean install. Alright, let's see if this works. Alright, I did it. But I have heard that Blender has come a long way. I've heard that it's gotten really good and is like constantly getting better. And man, like, can't beat the price. I'm really trying to get into Modo. I'm not quite there yet, but I feel like if I could get into it, it would be the dream. Okay, now let's. The thing I want to do here is draw some straight lines. those lines are now straight, and there's a way to grab these verts. Return their edge flow back. Pretty much just eyeballing at this point because that's all I really need to do. Return edge flow. There's like a way to like just like one click make it match the edge flow again. I forget what that is. Yeah, as the thing, Julius, I think it's just like it's just familiarity because like they're weirdly different, which is so strange because like they navigate so differently, and I know you can like switch the navigation controls around so they navigate the same now with the later versions of the software. That was my main thing, like just trying to get started with Macs. Like I couldn't like even like I know like the operations, like I've watched enough videos on like how Macs works. Like okay, I know kind of how these things are meant to be used, and I try to like fire them up and use them, and it's just like I can't even get my like stupid hands to do the thing I need them to do. Oh, it's edit mesh, edit edge flow. There we go. Edit mesh, edit edge flow. There we are. That's what I was looking for. Yeah, that's another thing. I didn't know they had that command, and that's just lifesaver. So all it's going to do is just make that section nice and round while keeping the straight section how I want it. That's a great little operator there. God bless. Is that still straight though? I feel like it's not. That part doesn't need to be straight because it's not a straight line. Yeah, that part of the topology can be angled. As long as those triangles are straight, everything is as it should be. I think I'm all set here. Send this back over. Fwomp. Yeah, nice. Now we are in business. Blender is the best developer team in the world. Wow, that's bold call. I honestly haven't fired it up since like the very early days. Maybe I should fire it up because I do see a lot more tutorials now that are just like how to do XYZ in Blender, and it's pretty cool kind of stuff they can do these days. All right, it's mirror Y. That did it. Mirror Z. That'll get me down there. And I'll do a quick rotate by 90. Actually, shoot. But yeah, to answer your question, that wasn't to get rid of the triangles. I don't mind the triangles. It's to preserve that straight line as well as like all this, because I want the bars to come out. Like you see how these taper in. It's actually a problem. I'm like finding myself needing to solve a lot in just 3D art in general. But I wanted these to line up parallel. And it completely looks like they don't, but you can see that they do. Like the bracket I'm doing has those as parallel. I don't know what I'm missing that I can like. And let me just dispel a myth. There's no such thing as the best developers in the world. That's the way I feel about it anyway. Alright, let's grab the top view again. Symmetry is on. Let's turn symmetry off. Just gonna do this in Maya. It'll be quicker. Oops. I didn't do it on both sides. It's a problem as well. Well, I think if I take it into ZBrush, that should be okay, because I can just mirror and weld that down. And that might fix that. Although, alright, let me do some thinking here. I'm sure I could just do the operation again, but I'm sure there's a quicker way to do it. Grab the faces I care about and leave them in. And then remove them from the other one. Okay, that seems about right. There's the others. There we go. Open up my little tool here. HH combine. Smart combine. Do a quick weld. Oops. Make sure all my verts are intact. Make sure it's watertight. It looks like it is. Be some creasing issues right there. Oh, that's just the extra edge rings. Alright, that'll do it. Alright, now let's send this bad boy back over. Alright, now we're in business, I think. No, we are not. Those are not sewn together. Issue on the bottom half. Top half looks good. Almost there. What's up, Ox? Welcome. Yeah, I don't have ArtStation or YouTube. Most everything we do is just disc jam related stuff. Alright, clearly didn't get something right. Let's bring this back up. Oh, weird. I wonder why that edge is off. That's very strange. I think I'm probably just gonna eyeball this, but yeah, that's weird. Oh, I bet I know why, but the transform wasn't correct in the first place. Here's what we're gonna do. Yeah, working on a disc for our game Disc Jam here. I broke this one, but I'm gonna grab this one back. Send it back over and just do the transform again. That'll be the most precise way to do it. It's always these little things that get you. That's why sculpting is so much more fun. You can just kind of go with it. Okay. So I grabbed something here. spacing, align this vertex to that, make that perfectly straight. Same with these. Align these vertex to here, make that perfectly straight. Now, I can grab the ones right here, here. Edit mesh, edit edge flow. What? Oops, that's why. Two edges. Mesh, edit edge flow, and now I'll straighten this out. Alright, so the edge flow is good. That's perfectly straight. Same for down here. Go to my front view. Delete all the bottom ones. Mirror this down. Negative Y. 1. Alright, I think we're finally in business, I think. Maybe it's optical illusion, I feel like it's not totally straight down there. Whatever. That should finally be it. Let's hope and pray. Send it back over to ZBrush. Alright. Looks straight to me. Let's polygroup those. Mirror and weld and Y. Alright, let me save that so I know we're in good shape now. this point, I'm just eyeballing it because I think that'd be more than enough. What? Excuse me. Sorry. Insert multiple edge loops. That will allow me to do that. Alright, now we're in business. Really want to get that pie shape there. I think I'm getting it. just debating if I want these all welded together or not. If I can just like separate them and be done. What face is that? Ocarina too good, right? God, that I love that game. Oh shit, what is this? Did those get welded together? They did. Yeah. Weld distance, take it down to like 30. Did I do it? Yeah, I did it. Ooh, that's close. Gotta be careful when you're messing with that geometry from a procedural scale. Majora's your favorite, huh? That's surprising. Ocarina is my favorite of all time. I'll admit, I didn't give Majora much of a chance. I need to maybe fire it up. Actually, I think I have. Sorry, bear with me for a second because something just struck me that I forgot about. thought I had a companion disc that had. Mord, you never played a Zelda game? Oh my god, do you game? Are you a gamer? Why can't I get this drawer out? Alright, we have to digress for a second here. Cause I thought that I had a what is it? I thought that I had a Majora's Mask GameCube like combo. I thought I had like a combo disc. Yeah, I thought I had this. Damn. $40. I thought I had it on my GameCube. I had a Majora's Mask combined with Ocarina. So this has the first two, Ocarina and Majora's Mask. I could have sworn I had this somewhere, but the only thing I just found was the apparently I just had the GameCube version of Ocarina. Could have sworn I had both though. Yeah, see, I swear to God, this is what I had. Son of a bitch. Hey, what's going on, Joanne? Is it Joanne? Sorry if I got that wrong. Did you see the Majora's Mask animation that was done completely? If no one's seen this, I'm like such a fan of this studio.
At the end of things, I can still feel its
Have you guys seen this? It's so good.
When I found it, I could sense the doom of a dark omen brewing.
This guy's like a total fan project, by the way. It's like nothing to do with Zelda. I mean, like nothing to do with Nintendo, rather. Official.
And now, that imp has it.
Wish I had really, really high-end, like cinematic animation skills. I mean, this isn't a 1-2 person team. Our studio's only 2 people, but like, it's still a small team. I think there was like like less than 10 people made this. So much good music in Zelda. Yeah, Nick, that's like this animation. I never gave Majora's Mask a chance. And then like this animation was very intriguing to me. And it made me kind of like curious about what the story and what the mask was all about, and that's such a creepy mask and they did such a good job making it like it's just a mask, but like it looks really chilling. Freaky. I want to put that game on my to-do list. I want to play that next. I actually have a GameCube to PC adapter, so I could play it on my computer. freaky that looks. The wood's all lit up. Yeah, totally got a Gollum ring thing. It's dope. Who did that? Amber Lab.
Heeded the ancients' warning. Heeded the ancients' warning. I should have heeded the ancients' warning. Nothing can withstand its power.
They're just sitting there, legs crossed, floating, beckoning. Oh, God, it's such a good animation. I love that. Ember Lab. I don't know much about these guys, but dudes are awesome. Oh, they did it behind the scenes. I should just watch all this stuff. Obviously, not here on stream, but anyway, you mentioned Majora, and that's what I think of as that animation. Damn it, I feel like I have to buy this now. 2-game bonus disc. I swear to God I have this. I'm sorry, I have to go look at this. No, it's not the time to do this, but bear with me here. Here's Zelda Twilight Princess. Meh. No, this is the disc, but it's just the disc for Ocarina. Man, I swear I had both, but I guess not. Alright, I'll dig around with this garbage after stream. Too many toys. Too many toys. Yeah, well, I'm definitely going to give Majora a spin. Haven't thought about that in a while. Alright, back to work. Yeah. Well, Disc Jam's out there. It's available. People, I don't need to hawk it here and bore people with all that. I'm probably not gonna ever show these polygons in here. It's really just a matter of now that I have this. Just grab one section of this, this gym never crashes. I don't know what you're talking about. My video still working, I hope. My camera still working? There it is. Wasn't updating. What's up, Raven? Let's flip them normals on this thing. The camera froze after 5 minutes of the stream, huh? Thanks for the heads up, guys. Say 0.5, 4 segments. Works. Ugh, just a pain in the ass. It's probably a Maya script I should write as well. That just, if you select a bunch of points, it automatically triangulate them. Like triangulate a bevel. Triangulate bevel string. I'm sure there's a script out there that does this. I don't do this by hand. I've been doing a lot more scripting lately, and it's been really enjoyable, saving me a lot of time. Now it's like whenever I'm like doing a manual process, I start thinking about scripting, and it's getting in the way of productivity. Got to be a better way. Actually, I think if I just send it over to ZBrush, it'll automatically triangulate it anyway. But I don't like those triangulations, they usually come out a little weird. Edge flow on. Of course it is. Alright, so that was bad because my edge flow was getting modified every time I did that operation. Oh, Mookie, welcome. What's up? Excuse me. So I think I really only need these faces. Just let me isolate this. Do a duplicate extract. There we go. I have this. Yeah, Nappin, we're using ZBrush as well here. I'm just doing a little bit of poly editing for the bevels in Maya real quick. This is Pixelogic's channel though. I don't work for Pixelogic, but I'm one of their sort of unofficial, I guess, official streamers, but not an employee or anything like that. They of course prefer that we use mostly ZBrush, and I tend to use ZBrush for the most part, primarily on this stream. But every now and then I'll jump into Maya just to get some cleanup done. And do some of the sorry, give me a sec here. Let me. Sorry about that. I wonder how it's going to handle this bevel. Oh, perfectly. Is it 0.5 with 4 segments? I'll match the other piece. Test is, can I bevel this as well? Oh, I can. Winner! Alright, yeah, that's all I want. I wanted that nice little cut there. So I could have that bevel there is important to me. transform, surface slide. Yeah, let's move that way back. And give myself a little bit more real estate here to play with on this next bevel. Can it not go deeper than that? Come on. Ooh, it got real loud. Sorry about that. Overdoing it a little bit with the geometry here, but I like it. think that's just about it. Because all I gotta do now is throw a little circle. Why is that still hard edge? Oh, that's why. They're not connected. So now that I got that, I can just duplicate this across. And that will work. Throw a quick bevel on that just because I don't need a polygon split there. So what's one of these? One of these 800 tries? That's not too bad. I don't mind spinning that on a few of these. Save this. Maps shared via disk. What in the world? How would you tackle doing a pull-through braid design for hair? That's a very good question. So when you're dealing with hair, first of all, I would Google this because it's something that a lot of people have written on. I guess you're talking pretty much about this type of look here. There's two different kinds of approaches that I've seen people do for stuff like this. And I'll just tell you what I would do myself. Like, a lot of people would actually architect the exact geo for this, meaning they would do some low poly modeling that, like, you know, segments out from the middle there, like that little pull through. They would like box model, you know, each knot, and then probably like do it once well, do maybe 2 or 3 variations, and then stagger them. And I think what I'd probably do is just take a long cylinder and sort of sculpt it myself, and maybe I only sculpt 1 or 2 knots as well. But like I would just do it by hand in ZBrush, where it's like I would take a big long cylinder and give it some resolution, dynamesh it. Oops, that ZBrush is the wrong button. Polish, dynamesh. That's probably a bit too much resolution. So I'd probably take something like this, and then start just sculpting it out. Clay, build up, clay tubes. How about my clay tubes brush? Sorry, I'm having an emergency and my clay tubes brush is busted. What the hell? Clay tubes brush is missing its alpha. But anyway, like you could also just do it this way. And it depends on like how stylized your model is. Like there's a little bit of a bulge there, that way, and then the pull through is kind of narrow, but then it gets bigger out here. So like I would probably just like sculpt a basic version of it, and then clean it up a little. And maybe this is a little bit more tedious and time consuming than it needs to be, because if you do the box model, you can just knot it up and duplicate it and make your edits after the fact. So it's like you're kind of saving yourself probably some time at the end. But you know, I think it would probably only take me a few minutes to like do a version of that I was pretty happy with, and then I would come in with like a Damien standard brush or something and like put some strands into it, get some more resolution, do more strands, and do something like that. And if I was doing a cartoony mesh, I'd probably definitely just do it like with clay. If I was doing a more precise, like it has to be realistic, I might do it with box modeling and get ready to do the texture. 'Cause I think how the shape is one thing, but texturing it's going to be like the final success of the look. I would do something like that, and then you know, just do my best to refine it by hand. So you know, I think either kind of would work for you. so on. So I'd probably do something like that. That's what I've been doing, wondering if that's the right approach. I box model them, made them IMM brush out of them, so the texture would look good there. Okay, well, one thing you want to keep in mind is that this is something that people don't really realize, and I always try to share this whenever I can, because I forgot this too. If you do an IMM, and you want to do it for the UVs, especially for this situation, you want the UVs to be done per knot.
This is Joseph Druss.
So I'll link this in the chat so that you can do this. And it's basically, it just tells you how you can do an IMM brush but keep the UV detail. And it's important because if one of your knots looks good, meaning like you've UV'd it and applied your texture, like I would apply a hair texture. Maybe it's not your final texture, but maybe it's just like the right kind of wispiness, the right kind of strand, like the right kind of thickness and resolution for the amount of geo you have. Do the UVs for one single knot, and then like make a texture that makes that knot look good. If you have one knot that looks correct, you can scale it up and down, and you know, maybe you want to do 3 or 4 versions of that texture, meaning like a lot of times for hair cards, hair artists will do this. They'll do a hair island, right? And maybe it's like for one ponytail knot, maybe it's for like a braid. But they'll do 4 versions of it on one texture, and this one has a little bit more waviness. This one's just almost identical, but just different color slightly. Just make it so they're not identical, so your eyeball couldn't like pick out the repetition. And then you do something like this, where you do the IMM brush, and every time you drag it out, or do a curve IMM, so they line up to each other, you can have the UVs present. So every single instance will have UVs, and it'll save yourself the time of having to like, okay, I've got the geometry how I like it. Now let me go back and texture it. It's just gonna waste a lot of time. So if you do it this way, what I would do is like nail down one knot, and then use this method here that I just linked to bring the texture over while you draw out the geo. Because it's a pretty repetitive shape. You know, they're varying in size, of course, but if you have all the same size, then you could go back in after and sort of scale down the ones that are lower and make them a little bit inside. Matter of fact, I think an array mesh might work best, because then you can do like a long string of array mesh, and then with the array mesh you can have each taper a little bit, so then you can automatically handle the size. Then you would do the ponytail separately, and the hair bun, kind of the pull back on the hair separately. First time watching, just about to go to uni to do games design. I've been doing ZBrush for about 4 weeks now. I'm loving it. Any tips on the industry in general, like getting into it, applying for jobs? Sorry, it's a vague question. I hope you understand. Yeah, no problem, Mason. Main bit of advice I would give, it's good that you're already getting into the art stuff while you're heading into a design university, the games design practice. The main thing I try to tell people is that like video games are very interdisciplinary by nature. Like video games as an industry, even if you're just an engineer, it really helps if you understand the art side, because like you're going to be working with the artist, and understanding what they do will help what you do. You know, I started getting a lot better at building games when I started animating myself, because building systems as an engineer, I would be able to do a good amount of stuff there. Like if you described it, I could build it for you, but when I started really authoring the animation assets and like being able to pull what the animation was doing in code and then do something intelligent so the gameplay feels good with that animation, that was a big jump for me creatively, because it allowed me to sort of author the system so they would feel good rather than just look good or play well. You know, like if it looks good and doesn't play well, nobody cares. If it plays really well and looks crap, nobody cares. But like getting good at both was really a big deal for me. So like just keep in mind that it's very interdisciplinary, and try to broaden your understanding of video game development, not just I'm going to be the best designer in the world. Well, there's a jillion people who are designers, and to be honest, design is always subjective anyway. Like people like some designs and people hate some designs. Like there's no such thing as like a perfect design. So like, you know, being a designer who could like script, or being a designer who could like help out on the art side, like those are all things that help a lot. As far as getting good with art tools like ZBrush, there's no shortcuts for just time spent Like there's no shortcuts for just spending time in the application. Unfortunately, you know, you just gotta dig in and do the work. What the hell happened here? Are these faces all? Let's turn all of these off here. These aren't welded. Oh good, just crashed. I hope I've got that stuff saved. Fire up ZBrush again. Can't really imagine why those wouldn't be lined up though, I mean. How is that possible? Let's take a look at this hair. So here's your hair. Yeah, you know, box modeling is pretty tough or something like that. That's why, you know, if you want to sculpt it first, maybe it could go a long way. You know, one thing you want to avoid is all this interpenetrating geo, because it's kind of forgivable with hair, but you're always going to see, depending on your hair shader, you're always going to see those cards poking through. So, you know, you're gonna be it's going to be tricky with that. If I were you, I would just like sculpt the whole thing, and then just draw a topology on top of it, because that would help you just get the look first. Although the ones in the lower left here seem like they're okay. There's not a lot of overlap. They're all the same size, of course, so I think, yeah, if I was you, I would just try to sculpt it. The ones in the top here are pretty solid too. If you did those, it's a lot of geometry though. You should be able to get away with like this amount of geometry right here and be okay, or even this one over here is pretty solid, I think. If you bulked up, like it seems a little flat, so like if you bulked up that, if that edge loop right there was pushed out a little bit more, you might be alright. I gotta find out why the frick. How is it possible this wouldn't line up equal? No problem. Is it better to have a character's face as one UV map, the body another, and then the clothes another, or do you recommend having the face and the body on one UV map? There's no right answer to that, because it's all going to depend on your shaders. Like, I throw all of it, I mean, like, it really does depend on how your textures are going to lay out, because, like, your materials in your engine, of course it all depends on your engine, are going to go, you know, they're going to have certain rules about how you set that up. Like, I do my face on the same texture as my body because I want that to be one draw call, because that's like our skin shader is one of the more expensive ones. So I put, instead of like doubling those draw calls, I just put everything on, I put my face a little bit bigger in terms of UV resolution, but I put the face on the same texture and material as the rest of my body, and you know, it makes for, you have to be pretty creative with UVs, but it's helpful because You know, I can't for the life of me figure out why this wouldn't be identical. I wonder. Reset transform. Rotate 45. Try something here. Edge flow. I'll try and mirror this. This is not symmetrical about the axis I need it to be. Keep spacing. Alright, it's mirror. What the hell? Okay, mirror positive X. There we go. Now we're all lined up. Why would it keep those nodes, damn it? This is just a, yeah, and then, but one thing to keep in mind, Rednef, is that your entire character shouldn't be in the same UV most likely, but again, this depends on the engine. But like, if you're doing, you know, if your shader model is like totally stylized and like there's no different material properties, you're fine to just have it all be on one texture. But like if you're doing a more detailed character and, you know, you're gonna have, what's the word? You're gonna have different types of materials, meaning like skin with subsurface and kind of some like different types of shader properties versus like just traditional PBR or whatever your shader workflow is for like your costume and stuff like that. You're gonna want there to be different materials, meaning different shaders, meaning different texture groups. So you wouldn't want to waste texture space. So like it's gonna depend. The answer is there's no right way to do it. There's just what's your desired outcome and like what are you gonna be using it on. Hopefully that's helpful. That's the best I can describe it. Alright, did I weld these all together? No, I didn't. Alright. I should probably save this. Oh, it's not a Zelda soundtrack. It's just a soundtrack I found that's video game music. So it's a mix of like RPGs and stuff. It's good steady music, good non-distracting vibe. Okay, so that's there. Why would the underside be colored? Shouldn't be. Yeah, we're doing Unreal Engine for Disc Jam. Alright, so combine all those. Let's delete these nodes here. Combine these, merge these verts. Huh. I think I mirrored that thing. I think I blew it. Yep, sure did. Damn it. Very frustrating. Cripes. Never fails with this low resolution stuff. Always got something to do. Let's make that 50. Let's keep our edge flow. Alright, then put those back where they needed to be. As a general rule of thumb, long triangles are bad. I think there's a lot cleaner ways to do that topology in the corner, and I might revisit it to clean it up a little bit. But for now, I'm happy with the shape. And since I'm not doing UVs yet, I'll probably return to that when it's time for UVs. I think this is madness, but it holds the shape well. I gotta do a quick mesh cleanup. Faces more than 4 sides. Dip-a-doo. What in the hell? Of course. Son of a bitch. These are the kind of things that they become time consuming, but you know, you have the mouse and keyboard, you get them right, and then you're done, thankfully. Smooth this whole thing. Alright, pretty interesting little piece of geo actually, like it with the doing all those curves while it's like arching is like not an easy task, so I'm actually pretty happy with the final shape here. The biggest difference with Unity and Unreal, there's a lot of differences. I mean, like, you know, if I was making a mobile game, or if I wanted to make a game that's like, the best thing about Unity is that, like, you know, you press one button and like, boom, like, export to mobile, PlayStation, PC, like, it's just like, your exporter is like all right there for you. But, you know, being a managed language is, you know, not really great. Like, Unreal Engine C++ native, so it's like very performant. There's pluses and minuses to both. I mean, like, honestly, like I keep saying this when you guys ask me questions. It's like, oh, you know, it depends. But it really is the truth. It does depend on what you're trying to do and what you're after. All right, so now this is centered. So if I ba-ba-da-ba-doo, ba-ba-da-ba-doo, ba-ba-da-ba-doo. Okay. Group frame parts. Now let's hide it. Take the second one. Let's combine those. Oops. Let's try to send all these over, see if we can get into ZBrush as something manageable. And the answer is apparently. These buttons aren't looking too hot. Are you in war with Epic Games over the cancellation of Paragon? Is that what you're salty about? Man, I just... Are this normals just flipped? Is that what it is? What the hell? It usually messes a lot. Triangles, it hates triangles. Well, I'm going to clean this up a little bit more anyway, so for now. What the hell? These seem okay. So weird. Alright, so let's fill this with black. Or in fact, fill the whole thing with this. Let's go skin shade and fill the whole thing with white. White. Let's fill that with black. Yeah, it's tough, man. Like I never quite Paragon looked so good. I wanted it to be good, but I just never had fun playing it. Like I never got into Paragon. Like, they released a new character, I'd be excited about it. Beautiful game. And I just never had fun. I just did not have fun ever. So yeah, that did it for me. yellow. What a great color palette. They did a good job making like a nice recognizable. I guess it's just the primaries really, RGB and yellow, but something very iconic about it. Of course I do. That's very strange. Well, you can't press them in our game, so you wouldn't be able to touch them. But I was gonna have the material would sort of like it would have a material on it. It would like beep 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 beep, beep, and it would like just randomly make the material sort of light up. That's what I was thinking. Okay, so let me turn my focal shift to -100. Although I guess the silver one does a different. What is happening? looks good. Hey, what's up, Bland? Welcome. Haven't seen you in a while. Yeah, Mort, I use Shane's brushes. I got a few of them down here. I'm glad I'm really happy with those. He did a great job with those. Man, I really hate this inset sometimes. Inset region. Key mesh. I got a game dev question. What's your thoughts on UWP, Universal Windows App? Is that the thing that they're trying to do now where it's like you can do... Here's what I'll say about it. I don't like any controlled marketplace or any closed marketplace. I'm very against that. It hurts creators a great deal. And all these people are doing are just finding ways to close down open platforms so that they can get a bigger revenue share than they deserve. The App Store is no exception. Steam's no exception. And the simple fact of the matter is that, like, you know, the vast majority of PCs are running Windows, and they already tried this with the Windows App Store. They just want to control the marketplace and have you, like, if they already have dominance of the OS universe. If they get dominance of the marketplace as well, it's just completely anti-competitive, and it's just Tim Sweeney of Epic has a really good rant, like, and they do a lot of business with Microsoft, and he just like went right after Microsoft and was like, this is disgusting, and like no one should support this. And you know, like, every single game we sell, we have to pay some retailer 30%, even though it's a digital game and really just costs nothing. Tim Sweeney's super against that as well. He thinks that, like, you know, like, game dev shouldn't pay 30% of every sale to the marketplace. That being said, Steam is a free service that has a lot of good. There's a lot of things that are good about the digital marketplaces in which we're selling the game. You know, there's a lot of things they do that make our life easier. A lot of things they do that make our life harder, but by and large, like, there's a lot of things they do that make our life easier. That being said, you know, the Universal Windows platform being just, in my mind, another step on the path to limiting consumers' options, limiting developers' options. It's another effort, in my mind, to close down the marketplace and create a closed marketplace for Windows, which I think is disgusting. I think open marketplaces are a requirement, and it's not like these corporations are hurting. There's never been a time in American history in which American corporations have been doing better. They'll all tell you about, oh, competition's so much higher, and technology has been such an expensive thing for us to invest in, and it's never cost us more to do business. And that might be true in a lot of ways, but believe me, there's never been a consolidation of revenue like there is today. And it's just sickening to me that, like, the people aren't focusing on innovation anymore. They're focusing on how can I, like, be anti-competitive. And the Universal Windows platform, in my opinion, is like another step towards anti-competitive, and it's just to the detriment of everybody involved besides the 2,000 people who have shares in that company, and I mean big shares like ownership. Anyway, what's up, Face Melt? What's up, James? So yeah, I wanted to do like a disc that was obviously in the vein of Simon, but then had like it would light up as you played with it in the game. So I'll pretty much stop there. I got only 10 minutes left anyway. I think it'd be a pretty cool little disc. I think it worked out. So let me take some renders of this bad boy. Also, I always forget what does the I always forget where I'm supposed to screenshot this thing for my channel when they export these. Ba-da, ba-da, ba-da. ZBrush, YouTube. I always forget where they line up our, like, they do an overlay of our, like, faces. So they put the pictures to the right, ZBrush Live underneath. Looks like they do. I want the content on the left. Alright, I can do that. Alright guys, that's about it for me today. Thanks for hanging out. It's fun chatting with you guys, and then I'll be back next Thursday. Hopefully some of my ranting was helpful for some of you guys. And I will talk to you guys next week.